Good evening and a very warm welcome to all the 1100 plus security professionals from across the globe attending the CPSO, that Certified Professional Security Operative Program, which is being conducted by Topford International Security. Now, my name is Chakradhari Rove. You can call me as Chucky. I am a proud ISA Israel alumni in protection and counterterrorism. Uh, Apart from this subject, I've studied airport operations from IATA, policing, criminal justice from GCTC, US, border control, community policing, hybrid warfare from Rashtriya Raksha University, India. Now, today I will be sharing with you some very, very critical thoughts around the subject of security philosophy. Now, security philosophy is something that I have found to be one of the most important pillars in security education, and you will, agree with me as we finish this module. Now, in this module, we will understand three very important aspects. The first one is we will answer the question, what is security philosophy? Okay. The second one is going to be where I will share my personal security philosophy that I designed for myself uh, as an example, to better explain the concept of security philosophy. Now, this is a security philosophy that I designed for myself for all the work I do, whether it's consulting, whether it's training or security architecture or whatever it might be. So this philosophy, what I will share with you guys, uh, is the heart, through which all the security information flows in all of my work. And third, and the most important thing that we will discuss is why is a security philosophy important in our field? Okay, so let's get started. Now, security is the oldest aspect of our existence. Now, ever since the first couple on the planet, popularly known as Adam Eve, ever since Adam and Eve was born, they had to secure and defend themselves against the wild that existed back then. Okay, we read, that there were some nasty, violent, crazy creatures around that lived back in those times. Now, initially, they would protect themselves from these wild, but then when they got their first child, they got into close protection. Like most of us who have kids, I'm sure when we take our kid to a mall or shopping mall or a public place, if the kid is too small, we are like right on their six, or we have them covered from all places, and we keep, we act as the close protection operatives for our kids. So possibly they did the same thing. But then after a few centuries of defending oneself from the wild, man started defending himself against another man or another men. Now it was not just about the wild. Now man had to defend himself against another man who was possibly trying to harm him, to take his family, take his cattle, take his home, his gold, his land, and everything that he felt that was his. Now, one of these two people were called good, and the other was called evil. Now, who's good, who's evil is a debate for another day. But we know, as security professionals, we are on the good side, or we have to be on the good side. Okay. So, security philosophy, once we understand this subject, it is going to help us be on that good side for the right reasons. But then the most important question here is what really set apart, the good and the evil? What was the difference? How would you define the good and evil? There was one very important aspect. The good was driven by a philosophy. Now, what is a philosophy? It's basically is a process of questioning or systematic reasoning, something that we as security professionals do all the time, correct? While the bad or the evil, they were driven and still are. They're driven by an ideology. Now, how do you define an ideology? It is a set of very strong beliefs that the adversaries have. One that is required by these guys to be brutally violent, to kill without any meaning, to kill those who are unarmed, kill those who are innocent civilians, those who practically do not intend to cause any harm to anyone. To do something like that, you need a very strong ideology. If you have a philosophy, maybe you will not be able to do something that nasty. You will not be able to be evil. Correct? So that's what defines or distinguishes, the good and the evil. It's the philosophy versus an ideology. Okay? So let's define this term, security philosophy. Let's define this. Let's understand what, how we can better fix or bring in this concept into our security operations on a daily basis. Okay, so let's read through this. It is an algorithm, okay, that is made of rules and regulations, processes and procedures, and formulas. Okay, this algorithm is used to accurately process all security related information and help us plan our security architecture and responses better and to be more effective. Okay, now I will not dig too deep into this definition. What I suggest you do is pause the video right now, read through this definition, a couple more times. And I don't want you to understand this completely. There is no need for you to understand this completely. Just try to sink in the words that are in bold. Just try to sink in those words. And then these words will all come together. We will understand the definition, more better once we get deeper into the subject. So you can pause the video now, read it a couple of times, and then let's move forward. Welcome back. So let's give an analogy here. Now let's look at security philosophy as an operating system on our computers, on our phones, Android, stuff like that. Now, operating system is something that takes the load of managing all your data, all your applications, all your computing, the processing of all the information. Now, the more robust our operating system is, the more productive we can be. However, now there are a few things that we need to understand before we can define our security philosophy or build our own operating system. Okay. Now, the first and most important is, excuse me, your security philosophy must be user friendly. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean two things by that. The first thing, your security philosophy must be easy to learn. Now, friends, please understand one thing. This philosophy is not just for security professionals. It should be designed keeping in mind those who know little or nothing about security. For example, your employees in your company, people who are not in security role, housekeeping. Okay, let's say for example, an IT company, the guys who are into computer programming, correct? That's not a security role, but they should understand this security philosophy. Or let's say a retail company, the people who are working in a shopping mall, correct? Salespeople, they need to understand this security philosophy. And why it is so important is because that is what will help them everyone around us build something called as a security culture in ourselves. Okay, a security culture is a different beast in itself. Probably, we'll have a discussion about it some other time. Okay, so it should be easy to learn. And second, the philosophy should be something everyone in the company around you knows at the back of their eyelids. Okay, and I say this because knowing it, even when their eyes are closed, it will help them relate their what they do on a daily basis at your workplace to that philosophy. Okay, and you'll understand this as we get into understanding the philosophy further. Okay, so this is the end of part 1. Any questions that you have so far, please post on the group. Okay, we will take questions. In the next 5 minutes, probably I'll share the video of part 2, in the group. So we can, go forward to that. So take a small 5-minute break. If you want to go through the, part 1 again, you can do that and share your questions, and I'll see you in part 2.